want to know how you see the world. Do you seek out urban beauty? Or do you create your own landscapes? Maybe it's outdoor adventure that makes your world turn. Let us bring your passion into focus and give you the best view yet. At Botwin Eye Group and Oculus Optical, we defy the norms by combining advanced medical eye care with Santa Fe's finest selection of luxury and artful eyeglasses. Botwin Eye Group and Oculus Optical, 2 locations in Santa Fe.
Welcome back, everyone, for another great episode with the Santa Fe Gloom podcast. I would say that this is probably one of our best soccer players on our show that we've had so far. We've got Lamar. Lamar, thank you so much for joining us today.
David, I appreciate you reaching out and asking me to come on. I'm honored and I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I'm going to read through some of your accomplishments. Born and raised in Albuquerque, right? Rio Rancho area.
Yes, sir.
Club team was New Mexico Rush, 5A state champion, then went off to Colorado State University Pueblo, first team all conference, freshman of the year, All-American your sophomore year, right?
Yes, sir.
And then also national runner-up your sophomore year as well. So, man, tell us before we get into all those details, tell us your first soccer memory.
My first soccer memory had to be crying at St. Pius High School. Like, I was just real competitive when I was a youngin'. I got 2 younger brothers. My dad and mom still together. My mom, track athlete, basketball athlete, soccer. Dad, played professionally basketball, but played every sport under the sun growing up. So I came from an athletic background. So I guess I just had that competitive nature in me. So I remember going out trying to kick a ball, U4, U5. Kid steals the ball away from me. Instead of chasing him down, just start crying, breaking down, start crying. I thought, like, easy. I was watching the Messi highlights on the way to the game. I thought I was going to be like this superstar right out the gate, but it clearly wasn't the case. And that kind of fueled me from the beginning. Same with basketball too. I remember always playing up when I was a youngin' and just always wanting to win. So whenever I didn't win or stuff didn't go my way, I just remember crying, bursting into tears, just real upset at the time. And, tears still come when we lose games now, but it's not as frequent like it was in training and that. So I guess my earliest soccer memory would be crying on the field after kids just steal the ball away from me. So I guess that set the stage for everything going forward.
Yeah, I can actually relate to that. I know when I was playing basketball or soccer when we were kids, like when we lost a game, it ruined like our whole week.
It was brutal.
We were probably both on real competitive teams and winning teams, but when we lost, it like the world stopped basically, and then my parents, probably like yours, they reminded us of the loss too. They were super competitive also. They weren't going to just let us, sit down the rest of the week. They're like, you got to get outside and train, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like my parents were big on the accountability bit. Like they would never let me blame the coaches, let me blame my teammates. They always put the pressure on me, which looking back now, I'm super grateful because it gave me the mindset that I have today. And, if you can take accountability for everything, then, you can control a lot, and it helps, at least with me, helps your mental. I don't like thinking about stuff that I can't control because it just drives you insane. So if you can always focus on stuff that you can control day in and day out, it makes playing and honestly moving on from a loss and kind of handling that loss a little bit easier. Of course, it never gets no one likes to lose, but it gets a little bit easier.
So fast forward to your freshman year of high school. You tried out for Rio Rancho High School. You made the JV team, but not the varsity team. So how did you rebound from that to make it to where you're at today? A great one of probably the best soccer players in Rio Rancho history. Also probably one of the, I'd say maybe top 5 players in CSU Pueblo history, and then an all-star at SMU. So how do you go from freshman year not making that varsity? Because players of your caliber are probably playing varsity like 8th grade and definitely freshman year. So how did you bounce back from that, and how did you use that as motivation?
Well, I think that even before that, I think my mentality up until probably like 16 was I want to play in the NBA because like I told you, my dad was a basketball player and he's 6'6". My dad's tall. I'm 6 foot when I have my twist undone. I have my afro. I'm about 6'2". So I tell coaches put the 6'2" on the lineup sheet. But so no, I was really like I'm going to NBA. Like I want to play basketball. So like majority of my like after like personal training, like whenever I was sitting by myself or with my brothers, we were playing basketball. So we were like going into the gym, shooting, dribbling. Like I'd still put aside time for soccer, but I feel like I was always naturally better at soccer, and I always kind of knew that. And with the club schedule we had at Rush, like we were playing all the time. So it was like at the times that we did get breaks, I was like, I'm a play basketball. So I think that's where like we're kids, my teammates especially who were spending that winter playing futsal, playing pickup, improving their soccer skills all the time. Me and my brothers, we were playing basketball. So I was a little bit behind on the developmental curve. So I think that led me to making JV my freshman year. And then shout out Coach Shep, the head coach at Rio Rancho. He was known, my parents told me this after the fact, like my sophomore year, but apparently Shep wasn't too keen on freshmen playing varsity. He was the coach at that point for Rio Rancho I think he was going into like his 25th or 26th year, something like that. He was there since the school opened, and he had only had one other freshman ever play varsity for him. And it happened like 3-4 years ago. It's actually one of my good friend's older brothers. But it's besides the point. So like I didn't even know that coming in. But then yeah, like you said, we get the list and I make JV. And like for me, I was pretty happy. Like right out the gate, I was pretty happy just to even make a team in general. But then all my club teammates who went to Albuquerque High, La Cueva, Sandia, Cleveland, Cibola, everywhere else, they all made varsity except for like one other guy who made JV. And I thought I was one of the better players on our club team at the time. So like me, I was pretty upset. Like we talked about competitive nature. Like I was super upset. And because these schools were like traditionally better than Rio Rancho, you could say. So I'm like, well, if they're at a better school making varsity and I'm at a worser school making JV, I was like, something's wrong. Like I got to do something. Like I need to do something. So that really just fueled my mentality from day one. And I was like, I need to go in and prove myself like every single day. It didn't take any days off. Not that I was going in there with some smug attitude talking about I'm better than everyone. I truly didn't think that because I believe you're there for a reason. Everyone's in the same position for a reason. So I was humble enough to realize like I'm not good enough to play varsity yet. So I just need to go out there and prove it and take people's spots and, show no mercy at the end of the day. So that fueled me to train really hard every single day. So I got the confidence. I played a lot on JV. And then about 9-10 games into the season, I was able to get pulled up for varsity. And I kind of was able to stamp my mark when we played Sandia Prep. It was like my first game. Like we were playing terrible. I remember sitting the bench the whole first half. And then I was a little like scrawny kid, little 5'5" with a flat top. So like this was hilarious. So we were playing and everyone was struggling. Like nobody could pass, nobody could run. And so I was thinking, like my dad told me, he was like, well, like if you can't pass, if you can't shoot, if stuff's not going well for you, at least work hard. Like at least run, at least try to make a tackle, at least try to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like try to do something. So I was this little 5'5" kid with a flat top. I played about 15 minutes. I completed 0 passes, 0 dribbles, but I had about 5 tackles. I was running to everything. I was like a chicken with my head cut off. I was just running. It was kind of, looking back on it, it was kind of embarrassing. I see the film now and I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? But that was just my mentality. I was like, well, I'm here for a reason. Like I'm gonna work hard. Like no one else is doing anything. Like I might as well try going and do something. And it ended up paying off because after that day, Shep pulled me aside after the game, told me I played really well. The next game, we actually played Cleveland at our stadium, and we had a couple injuries, and it was 1-0. We were down, and then in about the 68th minute, I was playing like the 10. Our winger crossed it in. I took a touch with my right foot and scored bottom corner my first goal, like my second game. And at that moment, like that gave me all the confidence in the world, and that really solidified for Shep and my teammates. Like, okay, like this little kid can do something. Like he may run headless at times. He maybe doesn't have the IQ yet, but we got a little something there. So shout out to Coach Shep and shout out to my teammates for believing in me and just giving me that chance.
Yeah, in JV basketball, I played my freshman year. I played at Capitol High School, and our coach,
Okay.
Coach Mondo, he said hustle makes up for everything. He'd write that on the board every single time
Yeah,
we played, and it really truly does. We might look ridiculous, but it's kind of like that Dennis Rodman mentality. You know, we're
exactly.
jumping over those loose balls. You know, we're going into the crowd. We're doing what we need to do. Talk us through Rio Rancho State Championship.
So that was my senior year. So at first, like even rewinding like my sophomore, and junior year, like we lost in the state semifinals my freshman year. That was actually a really interesting day because I got a referral. I got written up in school the day of the semifinal. So that was the whole, like, my emotions were kind of everywhere that day. But then so we lost that day. Sophomore year, we lost in the Metro semifinal and then the first round of state. And then my junior year, we lost in the Metro final again to Albuquerque High. We lost in overtime 2-1. And then we lost in the state semifinal again to Hobbs. So like we had come so close so many times. And then my senior year was on the tail end of COVID. So COVID started the March of my junior year. So like all of New Mexico, and come to find out, coming to Texas and like my family in Florida, like Texas and Florida weren't even closed. Like COVID didn't even hit these states apparently. But like, you know, New Mexico, we were shut down like the whole entire time. So like we weren't sure if we were going to play state. We weren't sure if we were going to have a season. And I didn't have any offers. I didn't have any like outreach to coaches at the time. So I was like, I hope we get to play. Like I was really, I hope so. And plus my brother's about 2 years younger than me, Jamal Bynum. Shout out Jamal. So he was a freshman when I was a junior. So we got to play together. And then my senior year, he's a sophomore. So I was like, I really kind of just want to play with my brother. Like last year, like I wasn't even too keen on playing college at the time. I was still doing outreach, but I was like, I wasn't getting much interest. I wasn't getting many looks. And if I did, it was from like just somewhere I didn't see myself going. So I was like, yeah, like, nah, I'm just going to play this and then call it good. So then when they announced we had the season, it was like a month long. It was like from like, I think it was just the month of April. I'm pretty sure it was just that from April 1st or like March 30th to the end of April. So once they announced we had the season, I was like, yo, we gotta do something. Like this is the time. So like yeah, it was a really fun year. I got to play with my brother. We ended up losing in the districts. I think we topped the district, but we lost on senior night. We lost to Cleveland. So that was like our second loss. So we made it to state as a 6 seed, and there was only 8 teams, and we were a district champ. So to me, and we were in the district, like they moved the districts around, but like our district was Capital, Santa Fe, Cleveland, and I think us. So it was like we still had a strong district, and I think we had Volcano in there. I don't even remember, but it was like I still felt disrespected because there was 8 teams, and you're telling us we're the 6th best team. So I was like, nah, we can do something. So we went down to Mayfield. We won 2-1. Me and my boy Evan, shout out Evan. Me and Evan scored, went up. Then we played La Cueva at the APS Metro Complex, and that La Cueva was predicted to take it all that year because at least my senior year they had like 7 players from my personal club team, so like all really good players. On the 04s, the year below, they had like 5, 6. Year below, my brother's age, 05, they had like 3, 4 of them. So like they were predicted to take it all. Like they were doing well. We were tied 1-1 whole time, and then we ended up winning like 9-8 in penalties. Like it was a ridiculous shootout. Like yeah, we all went first. Like the only time their keeper dove the right way was on my penalty. I shot first, but I put it in the side, and then all of our teammates were scored. And honestly, that was the semifinal was a little bit more surreal than the final. Like once we won the semifinal, I knew it was going to be hard, but I truly, honestly, I felt like we were going to win the final at that point because La Cueva was our toughest test. Like I knew we could do it. And then we went to the final, played Albuquerque High, and then it was at UNM, the practice training fields. So like Albuquerque High, and they had a couple players like Nate Slota, Nava, who's, you know, New Mexico United, but they were playing for New Mexico United's academy team. So they didn't play that season with Albuquerque High. And I still chat with them all the time. They're like, hey, if we would have played, we would have beat you this and that. I said, hey, it's like LeBron and the Lakers in the bubble. Hey, I'll take my championship. That championship's still real. You made your choice not to play. I played. Hey, Don't blame me. I'll play who's in front of you. So we were just defending the whole time. And like literally the whole time. And my brother was playing the 6. And I just literally I told our 10, his name was Anwar, me and him switched because we were literally defending. I could tell he was tired. He was chasing the ball a lot. So I was like, hey, bro, just sit back more with Jamal. Just switch. Like, I'll do some running for a little bit. And sure enough, like 15, 20 seconds after that, our keeper played a long ball. They headed it down. They knocked it down. I saw some space in behind, and it fell to my brother. And me and him were on the Wi-Fi and played it over the top, perfect ball. I took it on my chest and I chipped the keeper 1-0 with like 15 minutes left, and then we just defended and then we saw it out. So that was honestly my peak of my high school career, just to go out senior year, state championship, and I got to score off my brother's assist. Like, I can't really ask for much more. You know what I mean? Like, that was literally a perfect ending. So I was so grateful for that. So to come a long way since headless freshman running around, and then to do that was phenomenal. That was surreal.
Yeah, it's amazing. Totally amazing.
Oh, it was sweet.
And CSU Pueblo, how'd you get there and your experience over there?
So, like I said, the New Mexico United Academy team started that year. So as soon as I finished state with them, I went and I was playing with New Mexico United. And our head coach at the time, David Lease, who came from UTRGV, and now he's up somewhere in the Northeast. But he knew Coach 12 Trees at CSU Pueblo, and he had 12 Trees had just taken over the job the previous year during the COVID season. So like I had an offer from Fort Lewis, but it was a little too expensive. And I had an offer from Seattle Pacific, but they were giving me some weird stuff like, yeah, we want you to sign, but we're not going to tell you how much we're going to give you in scholarship till you sign. And I was like, that don't really make much sense. And my dad used the analogy, like, that's like agreeing to buy a car and then finding out how much the car payments are after you already signed the lease and decide to pay. I'm like, it don't work like that. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then the head coach actually ended up leaving like 2 months later to Washington. So it was a good choice. But no, so David
Was Fort Lewis good at that time?
They were pretty good. Yeah. And a lot of people from New Mexico, as you know, they go up to Fort Lewis, and that's like the spot. But I forget how much they were offering, but it was still like I was still having to pay like 5 figures. And at least for me, like, I was so big on like trying to get that number down to 0 as possible, because like not saying I didn't grow up like dirt poor by any means. Like, my parents gave me a wonderful life. They gave me everything I asked for. But then again, we weren't the type to just splurge just because we had it like that. We're a proper middle class family. So yeah. I was really keen on like, okay, I know my 2 younger brothers want to play college. My parents work really hard, and they told me not to stress about it, but that's just me naturally. I was like, I'm gonna try and get this number down to 0 as close as possible. So I think 12 Trees got in contact with me like couple weeks after the state final, and he was like, yeah, come take a visit, like it'll be sweet, come just see. And as soon as I got up there, and I didn't even know Pueblo was a school, to be honest, and it was like 4 hours away. I had no clue. So I went up there, and immediately, like, the locker room, I watched him play Adams State, and the locker room beforehand was just like, it was real vibrant. Like, I could not tell. There was 40 dudes in that locker room, but I couldn't tell who was a starter or not, because everybody was involved. Everybody was together. Everybody was like singing before the game. Everyone was getting locked in. Like, and when they went out, from the moment they were whistled, they weren't on the sidelines clapping the whole time, but everybody was engaged in the game. Everybody was active. Everyone was cheering for a good tackle, for the goal. Everyone stood up. Everyone celebrated. So I was like, this is a culture that I can see myself being a part of. Plus, it was close to home, and plus they got the I think we only had to pay just above like 3K, 4K for that. So I was like, yeah, this is a good spot, because I got the WUI scholarship as well, and then I got a couple little academics, because my high school GPA is good, better than my college GPA for sure. So I was like, got a little bit of academic and athletic money, and I was like, yeah, like this is the spot. Like, I'm excited. I'm ready to do this.
Did you know what the WUI is or what it stood for before you went into school?
I didn't know what it stood for. I just knew that I could get in-state in Colorado because it's a connecting school. Once I saw that, I said, okay, WUI, West, or I don't know. But, hey, in-state, less money? Oh, yeah, that's me. I pay less money? Yeah, that's me.
I was the same way. I went to Dallas Cup. That's where I got recruited to go to CSU Pueblo. Yeah. They're like, you want to come play for us? And I said, my 2 questions were, am I going to play? Because I wanted to step on as a freshman and play. That was the first thing. And then I said, how far is it? And they said
Mhm.
4 hours. I said, okay, I think that's doable. And then, and I said, well, what about financial aid? How much is this going to cost? And they said, well, when you go to the financial aid office, just tell them that you're a WUI. And I said, all right, cool. And it stands for Western Undergraduate Exchange or something like that. So it's, to your point exactly, that it's
Okay.
it's the same, like we were going to UNM or whatever. It's like the same.
So it's spelled WUE, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's how you know I don't even know. I was thinking it's
No,
WOI the whole time, like literally up until
no,
this moment. No, I couldn't tell you.
no, exactly. And neither did I. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, but that's kind of cool. I mean, you're 18 years old. You just want to go and play soccer. That's all we care
Exactly.
about. Like, we don't really necessarily care. We want to see how close it is to home so our parents can go and watch us. And then we just want to step onto the field. So, my instructions were, just let them know that you're a WUI. And I was like, all right, cool. So I went up to the financial aid office and I'm like, I'm a WUI. And that was it. And they're like, okay, cool. Sign these papers and you're off. It's like,
Yeah,
makes
exactly.
sense. So
yeah, I saw that with a little bit of academic money, and then he
yeah,
gave me some athletic money on top, and I said, okay, yeah, that's the best offer I got. 4 hours, cool, let's do it. Like,
yeah.
let's go.
And so you made true on that offer because you made it all the way to the national championship. So talk to our audience about that experience, the travel. And you guys did lose. However, you guys were the best team at Colorado State University Pueblo's history by far. And like I said, you're probably top 5. You could argue that with me if you want next time. Top 5 best players in the history of CSU Pueblo. So tell our listeners just about that experience again of growing up in Rio Rancho, but making it to the national championship.
So yeah, even before that, so my freshman year, like I told you, I was so keen on going NBA. So once
Yeah,
I was like, okay, that's not going to happen, and I went CSU Pueblo. I didn't look at it like never once did it cross my mind like, oh, I should be D1. Because everyone around me, like my coaches, my teammates, are like, yo, you could play D1. And I'm like, I know I can, but same thing as high school. Like, I'm here for a reason.
yeah.
And when I got to Pueblo, we had transfers from Jacksonville State, from Louisville, from Florida International, because our
Better
coach
D1
coaches came
players.
from the JUCO. Yeah, really good D1 players.
Yeah,
And I was like, there's a 40-man roster. And I was
yeah,
like these people are good, but truly, honestly, and I called my parents after the first day and I told them the same thing. Like, I told them, like, after my first session, I knew if I wasn't a consistent starter at Pueblo, I'd be letting myself down. And that's no disrespect to the team we had there, but I just knew my capability and I knew what I can do. And I was like, I can be a starter for this team like day one. I know I can. So we played Air Force and I played center mid, but that's where, like I said, we were playing like a 4-3-3, and that's where we had the Jacksonville transfer. We had a Louisville 10 come in, Carlos, great guy. And so my coach, 12 Trees, pulled me aside. He was like, hey, like, can you play right back? And I was like, I've never played it before, but I just want to play. Like, I'll play whatever. Like, I'll make it happen. And shout out to my dad for telling me always to be flexible. And my coach, Justin Sells, and Pancho Macias at Rush, like, they would always play me at never really right back, but I'd play the 8, the center back, striker, winger. So like, I was always keen on just being versatile and just helping the team win. So then the next game, I played 90 minutes at right back. And from that moment, I never saw the bench, always started from the rest. And I played right back with my other freshman roommate, Sam. He was left back. So it was really sweet that, we were really the only 2 freshmen who saw consistent minutes. And we played like a 3-5-2. So me and him were wing backs. So every game, and I'm sure you've seen that turf nowadays, it's like up and back all day, every day. So like, I just wanted to play. So I was super excited, really happy to do that. Scored a couple goals that year, got freshman of the year, first team all conference. And then I called my parents in December because, once again, a couple people were like, well, you should transfer. I was like, I haven't really done anything, because I knew like kind of the American system, like a little bit. It's like, it really relies on stats. Like, if you want to progress, or it's really who you know. So I was like, well, like, no, I can't. Like, I'm gonna stay here. I love it. And then January came, and that was honestly a hard moment. That spring semester when we weren't playing, because that was the first time in my life ever that I didn't have consistent games or consistent sports to do ever. Because I was always doing soccer in the fall, basketball in the winter, soccer and basketball in the spring and summer. So I was always on the go. And with my 2 younger brothers, we were always traveling, always doing stuff. So like, I was actually sat down, and that was the first time where I spent more than an hour in the library just because I was bored. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, and my
Yeah.
dad was like, well, just go to the library and sit and talk to people. So that's exactly what I did. I just went there, not doing any homework, just striking up conversations with people, going places. And that honestly got me out of my shell a little bit more. So then going into my sophomore year, just had a point to prove. Like we lost in the conference final that year. So that really motivated us to kind of come back. But if you ask 12 Trees and he says he was expecting us to make that run, he's lying. Like I knew we could do well, but no one expected we could go to the national semifinal. So we just kept winning game after game. We were together, and I say this again, like we were not the second best team player for player in D2 by any means, but we were such a tight unit, and we loved each other so much, and we genuinely hung out with each other off the field, not just freshmen, sophomore, junior, but like freshmen through senior, like the whole team would get together and do stuff, or majority of the team would go out and do this and this. So it was like we were such a tight knit group, and there's like 5, 6, 7 of them that I still talk to this day because of that. And that's really what led us to go on our run, and making that national final was honestly like that was such a surreal experience. And they did it we were honestly blessed because every 4 years for D2 they do it Olympic style. So like when we made it, we were that 4th year. So they brought men's and women's soccer, men's and women's track, cross country. We all stayed at the same hotel in Seattle, and we all got to go to like this big event. It was like they had food, they had like a motivational speaker, they had prizes, and then the hotel was really sick. They had a gaming floor, they had pools, they had snacks. Like it was so sick. So I'm like, the 1 year that Pueblo makes it here, we get to do this, and I'm a part of it. Once again, so grateful. Like it was so fantastic because I think it was during the World Cup, because it was at 2022. So it was like we got to watch the World Cup games with everybody and just meeting different people, boys and girls from different states, making it there. It was so sick. And then we won the semifinal. We scored like 15 seconds left, and that celebration afterwards was phenomenal. It was so sweet. And then, yeah, like you said, we ended up losing the national final, unfortunately. About 8 minutes in, I had a shot that got saved. It was going bottom corner. It was a great save by the keeper, but like it was like that. And we had a couple chances late in the second half, but like they were a good team. Franklin Pierce, they were predominantly Spanish. They had no Americans on the team, all Portuguese and Spanish players. But credit to where credit's due. Like they're a good team, and then they ended up beating Pueblo again this last year. So like they're a really good side up in the Northeast. But just to even get to that point was such a humbling experience for me, because like you said, like growing up in New Mexico, like not saying it's the worst area in the world, but you don't hear of people who get to go out and do stuff like this. Like you don't get to hear of people who can go on to the next level and still have success. Like next level beyond like UNM and Eastern and stuff beside our little bubble. So just to even get to that point and to receive a bunch of messages from my friends back home, family saying, we're so proud of you. Like you did well. I watched the game. Oh, you did well, like this and that. And then I'm seeing all those messages. And my dad actually flew out to Seattle. He got to watch me play in the semifinals and the finals. So that was really cool to have my dad there. And then told me the same thing after the game. Now I love my dad because he's always there for the support, but he'll always keep it real with me. So first thing he tells me after the game, he gives me a big hug. He goes, "You should have scored that chance, man." I go, "I'm telling you," I said, I know. But that's what I love about my dad. Like he'll keep it so real with me. He'll keep it honest. He never ever let me live in delusion as a kid. He always told me things straight up. And that's just, I'm so grateful for that. And then I call my mom, and my mom's the opposite. I could do no wrong with my mom. So like, it's just, she always has that love for me. Both my brothers supported me the whole time. So to even get to that point, it was phenomenal. One of the things I'll cherish for the rest of my life. Like honestly, truly one of the best experiences in my life.
What were some of your hangouts in Pueblo? What'd you do?
So we had one of the seniors, Sean, still talk to him this day. They had a house called 1351 at Wolf Village. So we would all get together. Teams would go there. The whole team would go there to hang out. Our dorms up in Crestone, little freshman, we had such a tight little freshman group, the 4 or 5 of us. So we would just hang out. We'd set up little mini golf courses in the dorms, play a little mini golf with clubs. We'd go down, we'd play pool, and it was just daily leisure activities. Because Pueblo, it's not a big city. You can't go out. You're not trying to get active all the time. We drive up to Colorado Springs quite often. Go to forget the park, not Red Rocks, but Garden of the Gods. That's what it is. Yeah, we go up there, see the nature a little bit, go to Chiba Hut, and like it was like a slower lifestyle than I was used to. Just real calm, real laid back, and it was really just you go to class, you do your training, and you're hanging out with the boys. Otherwise, you're sitting in your dorm alone. So it's like we were always together at all times. So we could even like I remember my freshman year too. We would go to Walmart and just stay in Walmart for 3 hours, not buy nothing. We wouldn't buy nothing. Like we would just be in Walmart hanging out, hiding behind little like the toilet paper structures, building forts and stuff. Like just doing college stuff. Like
Mhm.
just little 18-year-olds away from our parents for the first time. Like our closest boy Dylan, he lives in Longmont, which is about 2.5 hours from Pueblo. So like none of us went home, so we were just like, let's just have fun, like, and just take every day like a blessing, and that's what we did, and it was fantastic. It was so fun.
Is Aldolfo still a thing over there?
I don't think so. I
No?
don't. No.
Damn. I wonder what happened to those guys when I was
Is
there.
that the spot?
Yeah, that's where we'd go. Was like 24/7 Mexican food, basically.
Okay, yeah, that's. I think our spot we usually go Chili's. We
Okay, well
wanted to
there you
eat
go.
together as a team. Yeah, either Chili's or B Dubs, Buffalo
Yep.
Wild Wings.
Yeah.
That was really it.
And New Mexico United U23 team. Your experience there?
Phenomenal, from the coaching staff to the players that they bring in, just showcasing like our New Mexican talent, because we have good players. Like we truly, honestly, we have great players. And I said this to my teammates here at SMU. Like if we had the resources of like Dallas or LA or New York, like more of my teammates would have played college, but like we just didn't have that exposure. But you know, everything's supposed to happen for a reason. But just showcasing our talent on the level where we can play against other high level teams, high level players. And when I was at CSU Pueblo after that first year, and I came back and played for the U23s, and I got to play with and against high level D1 players from, you know, ACC, Big Ten, like Big East schools. Like I was like, I could play with these guys. Like they're not like I'm better than some of them now, but like I could play with these guys for sure. So that reinstilled my confidence even more so to go into that sophomore year and really dominate the way we did as a team. But like I said it from the jump, like if if players not pro, like they're not meant to be pro at the time. Like they can be pro, but they're not at the pro level right now because they would be pro. Like I truly honestly believe that. So like just putting ourselves in every single day, and the way we play in New Mexico is real like tiki taka, keep the ball, play out from the back, and that's the way I grew up playing. That's the way I love to play the game. So and to do it with all my boys that I was with, like my youth club team, Rush. There's probably like 6, 7, 8 of us who stuck together from U6, U8, all the way up till under 17. So like that was a big key on why I even kept playing in the first place, and why when majority of those players go play for the U23s, it's just so much fun because I get to play with my boys again. Like there's nothing beats that, playing with your friends like every single day, training, trying to beat each other, talking trash, like getting active at each other. Like nothing beats that. You can't put a price on that.
And SMU, what's it like playing Division One soccer?
So that was after we lost the national final, and I was sitting on that bus kind of heading back. Like I kind of knew it was my time to transfer. And then especially once when I got the All-American tag to it, I was like, okay, like this is my window to progress within the system. Like not saying I didn't believe in public, because they went back to the national final again. So like I knew we were gonna have a good team because majority of the boys were staying. But I was like, nah, like I gotta, like I'm just gonna, it's time for me. So I went back and I trained with New Mexico United, the first team, for about 6 months from that January to July. I took classes online while I was in the portal because I originally committed to Cornell verbally. I was gonna go to Cornell, and then probably like 2 weeks before I was supposed to go there in that January term, that spring term, admissions called me and they were like, yeah, there's a problem with your transcripts. We can only accept like 6 to 9 credits. And I'm like, I've just done a year and a half. So I talked to the coach and he was like, well, you could still come and you could play, but then that final year would be on you, like financially. And the school's like 80 grand. And I was like, so I go up there for 2 years, play, or 2-3 years, play my season, and then I still need a year and a half to get my degree. And now I'm out 80,000 plus 40,000. I'm out 120 grand. Like like, no, like that don't even really make sense. And like Cornell, they had a good squad, but like they weren't a Clemson, they weren't a Wake Forest. So it was like, am I really gonna do that? And it's up in the Northeast, it's cold. Like my dad's from Florida, I definitely got the sun weather, so I was like that's not really gonna work. So when I came back to United, I was training. Ben Stoddard, who's no longer here anymore, he reached out to me here at SMU. He was like, "Yeah, we really want you to come up for a visit, like see the area, do this and that." And so I came up, took my visits around the country, and I really got to pick. Like before, it was really just take what was in front of me and just go. Like that's was Pueblo, but like here, I got to pick between like 6, 7 different schools, really good programs. So I was like, okay, like broke it all down, broke down everything, and I was like, okay, like SMU is a spot. I'm gonna come here. And when I came here, biggest ups to Coach Huddy and my teammates here because they made me feel welcome from the jump. I was going through some stuff when I first came, but made me feel comfortable. And then we obviously exploded that year. I got to start and play every single game my junior year. We had our ups and downs as a team, but overall, like we won the conference. First time they won it in like 5, 6 years. We ended up losing in the conference tournament, and then we got smacked by Oregon State like 7-1 in the national tournament. Yeah, that was embarrassing, but other than that, like I met great people. Like my roommate's just across the hall right now, Kieran. He's a great guy. Teammates are fantastic. So I'm in the spot that I need to be. And I've developed a knack for business even before I came to Pueblo. And it turns like SMU is a really like high leverage, high connected area in Highland Park. Like there's kids here who drive Lamborghini Urises to school, 18, 19-year-olds, because their families just got it like that. Like around multi-millionaires on a daily basis out here. So I'm exactly where I need to be, and I thank God because this is exactly where I was supposed to go. So I love it.
What's your major?
Sports management, but like I said, I'm really keen on the business side. So right now I did a lot of marketing, did real estate marketing before I came up to SMU, actually, just with my homeboy. And then so I've been working with influencers, but now I recently just joined a startup company. We're developing an app where it's like a Uber, so like parents can sign up and their kids to get personal training, and we can take college level coaches who want to earn a little extra money, and they can partner and download our app and train kids at their convenience. So they just pick a time, they sign up. So I'm doing the marketing and the revenue generation for that company. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next 6 months is like my internship, but I also have some equity in the company because it's my boy who started it. So that's going to be a really good project. Oh,
Bless you.
oh, thank you.
I'm gonna backtrack one step. What did you major in at CSU Pueblo?
Business.
Okay, so you're at the HSB.
Mm-hmm.
And how much more difficult is the SMU courses than the HSB?
I say SMUs are a little bit easier, only because I'm not doing business, and the SMU Business School is like top 10 in the country. Like it's a really strong program, so I'm not doing that. And also too, I'm just more experienced. Like my junior year, I have better time management skills. I'm able to prioritize things. So like, I think the work is definitely harder at SMU, but just my life and the way I go about things makes it easier now than compared to Pueblo. Cause my freshman year, like I went to class and like, my parents will see this, but like, they know I didn't go to class every day. Nobody does. If they told you they did, they lying. Nobody goes to class every day in college. And, as a freshman, I'm like, I'm playing. I'm thinking I'm this not like big dog arrogant, but I'm like, yo, I'm playing 90 minutes. I'm doing well. Monday, yeah, I don't need to go to class. Like I'm good. I don't need to do this. And then after my first semester, I failed nutrition. And I was like, how did I fail nutrition? Like you just got to eat right. Like it's not that difficult. So then that kind of kickstarted things and I got it together. But I was like, yeah, my time management skills and prioritization now are a lot better. So I think that's what makes it easier.
Yeah, your story reminds me of, I think mine for sure. And then also like my parents. My parents grew up in Colorado. And my he was raised by his grandma. And his grandma said, whatever you do, go to college, go to school, and go to like the best school you possibly can. My dad chose social work and psychology. And when he was at Adams State for his undergrad, he said he wanted to become a PhD doctor. and he asked his professors at Adams State where he should go to school, what's the top ranked school, and it was the University of Michigan. My parents didn't even know where Michigan was. They just got in the car and just went. He
Yeah.
didn't get into Michigan State, or he didn't get into Michigan first, and then got into Michigan State, got his master's, and then
Okay.
got his PhD at Michigan. And what they would tell my brother and I, my brother's 10 years older than me. They said, you go to the schools, not necessarily for the name, but for the people who are your roommates, your
Exactly.
classmates, right? Who's to the right of you, who's to the left of you, because those are the people that you're going to be hiring, or they're going to be hiring you. It's your network, right?
Exactly.
And
100%.
unfortunately, sometimes in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, we sometimes don't have that network compared to SMU, right? Um,
Hmm.
so, I mean, I think that's just a good story to tell, and you're a great example of, not staying in Albuquerque, right? I think it's a good
Yeah.
thing. My opinion is that you got out and you got to see CSU Pueblo. You got to see a national championship. Now you're at SMU. You've got, connections that are worth generations, that are worth, it's timeless, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I commend you for that, because we need more Hispanic, African American males to go out to do those things, to be role models. Because unfortunately, we don't have those role models in our community as much as we should.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, so I just definitely commend you on that. And I'm curious on what your next steps are. You're going into your senior year,
Yeah.
right?
Senior year.
Yeah. So fast forward, once you graduate, if it's going to take you maybe that 5 year, but what do you want to do after you finish school?
So like because I was the first people of like the COVID cycle, I
Mhm.
didn't get that extra COVID year. It was the class above me that got it. So this is like my fourth and final year, and I was taking classes in January and May and over the summer here at SMU. So I'll actually graduate in December this year, all according. If I could pass my Spanish test on Tuesday, it's for sure a lock. So that's the game plan. But no, it's obviously I want to try and play pro. That's my goal. But like I said, I've developed like a real business niche, and I've made some decent money that kind of really changed my perspective in terms of like how I can earn income with the skill set that I can and with the leverage I can use around me. So like I said, obviously I still want to play pro, but I think ideally for me, I want to try and play and come back and play for New Mexico United afterwards, just so I can play for my hometown and
Yep.
just be around my family. I've been away from them for a while.
Yep.
So I want to try and do that as my first option. Obviously, MLS or anything overseas, like that's cherry, and I'm gonna go for that. Of course, like I'm gonna get an agent and stuff after the season, but it really just depends on how I do this year and how we can do as a team. Like now we're going to the ACC, so it's like all it takes is one good game, one good half, one good 15-minute segment when the right guy sees you for real, like of playing these high level teams. So it's like I'm really just taking it day by day. And then come December, I'll have my degree and I'll be able to, make moves from there. But the app that we're doing and the company I'm working with is called Train for Change. So ideally we have a good business structure. We have some good investors, people with high level spots who can really take it to the level in the millions of dollars. So it's like I'm just learning every day from them, and that's what I told them. I was like, they're hooking me up with people who are at higher positions. So I'm going to conferences, I'm going to meetings, so I'm just sitting there like a fly on the wall, absorbing all the knowledge, which is exactly what I want. Because my goal is ultimately to be, I call it wealthy, and I define wealth as like financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom. So that's really what I'm chasing, and that's what I have the capability to do. So I think ideally for me, it's to come back after December, play for New Mexico United, and then work with Train for Change like the whole time. Because I can do it because I'm the revenue social media guy. So it's like it's all can be done from my laptop and my phone. And I have a real keen for like AI, all this advancement, all this stuff, all this new technology that's coming out. So just putting systems in place to not only grow our brand but drive in revenue through our ads, through our marketing, through our different forms of leverage in person, all that kind of stuff. So like that's really what I want to do because I know the profit and the return on it is going to be extreme come 6 months, year, 2, 5 years. So just using that and then just build off that leverage and just keep meeting people, keep networking. Because the one big takeaway that I learned at SMU off from like the business side of things is like if you got $1 million cash, that don't necessarily make you wealthy. Like I'd rather be my mentor. His name's Farouk. He used a good example. If I'd rather be the guy who has like $100,000 in the bank account, but knows 10 millionaires than have $10 million cash myself. Because with those millionaires, you can use leverage. Like, use the example too. Like, one of them, like, if you need a car, one of them may own a dealership or knows a guy who owns a dealership. So you don't necessarily have to buy that car, but you can lease it through your business with this guy. Like, you could start a business and he could rent it to you at a discounted fee. And you can work all kinds of ways. Or some guy knows this guy who owns an apartment complex. So instead of them paying me $2,000, they can just subsidize my rent and give me, I'm paying like $300 or something like that. So it's just about your network, like you said, and the people that you meet along the way. And I'm really keen on that avenue because, like I said, we have mentors in New Mexico, but none of them are like high, at least in the abundance of the high level, like LA, New York, all these bigger cities. So like, I want to be the first millionaire in my family. I want to take it to the next level. I want to protect my family. I want to keep them safe at all times. I want to help my friends. And, I don't want to live this lifestyle that like rappers live, in terms of like going to the club, doing all this stuff. Like, that's not what I want to do. I just want to be able to have enough money and be able to take care of my family and stuff if push comes to shove, and be able to, travel. Like, I've been to Arizona, I kid you not, like over 30, 40 times in my life just for basketball and soccer tournaments, but I've never seen the Grand Canyon. Like, not once, just because it's always, games Friday night, we're leaving Friday morning, we're playing Friday night, we have 2 games Saturday, so it's resting in between, championships on Sunday, and then we're back in the car back home because we got school on Monday. So it's like, I've traveled, I'm well traveled, but I haven't seen stuff. I haven't like really experienced these different places. So I want to be able to do that in my 20s and stuff while I'm young. But at the end of the day, if I have a really good season and the opportunity to play pro is in front of me, like, I'm not, especially if it's for New Mexico, I'm not going to turn that down.
Yeah, we want you home. I'm going to challenge you. The first multi-millionaire in your family.
Oh, I like that better.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. No, yeah, I like that better.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I know before we jumped on, you wanted to do a shout out with your jersey. So now's your time.
Yeah. The best club in the world. Like, that was obviously the dream, play for Madrid, but I don't think I'll be playing for Real Madrid anytime soon. But like, this is what I mean with the traveling thing. Like, if I can have money, I'll do an Airbnb in Spain for 2 months and go to every game I can, bring my family out there, just try to give back to my parents and my family as much as I can, because they've helped me through so much. And like, I look back on it now as like, as an adult. I just turned 21 on the 12th of July. So it's like, now seeing kind of from an older perspective, like, I always knew my parents made sacrifices, but it really hits home, and I can really see like, like they did sacrifice a lot, and they still are to this day, like with my 2 younger brothers. So it's like giving my parents and my family just a better life, and giving them the peace of mind that you don't have to worry about financially. Because I think that's a big thing with everyone in the world today. Everyone's really stressed about their finances, inflation, and all this stuff. So it's like, I want to give my family peace of mind and myself peace of mind. And, I don't think I'll be doing that for Madrid, but I definitely can do that business-wise going forward. And like I said, best club in the world. Next 5 years are ours. Araguler, Hendrik, Vini, Rodrigo, it's Mbappe. It's scary. It's scary hours. And one of my good friends, JJ, he's a Barca fan. So we talk trash all the time. And he's in his shell right now. He doesn't know what to say. So I cannot wait. For these next 5 years. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of soccer going to be being played in the next 4 or 5 years with the World Cup coming. So
I'm going to go to a lot of those games.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, that's something on my bucket list, is going out to the World Cup games, especially now that they're the United States. Our entire 100%. Family is going to be going out to one of those games. And I'm sure I actually spoke on our last podcast. I want to say Dallas is one of the home sites.
I think we get the semifinals as well.
Yeah.
Like, we get a couple games and we get the semifinals. So, I'm definitely going to be coming back up here, staying in my friend's apartment, saving on hotel money. And I'm going to be going to a lot of games for sure in 2026.
And backtracking real quick on the business stuff, I think that's excellent. I got my MBA from CSU Pueblo. So obviously we can connect when the time is right. You can be one of the first investors in the Santa Fe Gloom, if not one of the presidents of the team or whatever. So, but super proud of you. Read the book if you haven't already, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'll text it to you.
Oh,
Oh,
play
okay.
with
Well,
me. We got it. We got
there
it
you
on.
go.
Oh, trust me, I
I
love
stand
getting knowledge.
corrected.
I love getting knowledge. That's my thing because you can never learn too much. Like you're always going to continue learning, and at least in today's day and age, the stuff I found out, like it's so easy to make money nowadays. You just got to put yourselves in the right positions. It's about what you're working on and how well you can stick with one thing for a longer period of time. And yeah, especially the way the world's changing, AI, crypto, services online, digital media, like it's abundant. There's abundance out there. You just got to change your mentality. That's my biggest takeaway. Got to operate from an abundance mindset. Like
Yep.
I tell myself every day, like I'm gonna start saying I'm a multimillionaire. I've been saying millionaire, but I'm like now it's
Yeah.
multimillionaire. Like you just got to tell yourself every day, even though it's not reality right now, but it'll catch up. If you believe in it truly and you work hard on it every single day, I truly believe you'll get to where you need to go. Because once again, if you were to ask me this 4 or 5 years ago as that freshman, like, hey, you'd be playing in the ACC on a full ride. I'd have called you a liar. I'd have been like, no, there's no way. Like it's COVID. I'm here playing GTA. Like there's no shot. But that's what's crazy about the world, and that's why I put all my faith in God. Like he gave me this life, and I'd be a fool to take it for granted. So just working every single day.
Yeah, and I think, for lack of better word, money is safe in people like you, right? Because I know people like you are going to give back. That's for sure.
100%.
You're going to give back to your community. You're going to go back to the neighborhood that you grew up on. You're going to invest in soccer fields. You're going to invest in the community. That's something that we definitely do with the Santa Fe Gloom. Like our games are free to the community because
100%.
myself and my team, we want to give back, right? We want it to be accessible for all of our Santa Fe community and Albuquerque community to come out to a game and watch people like yourself play, because that's huge. Because if we're taxing people 10, 15, $20, for me, that's not going to go too far. What's going to go far is having people like yourself buy into the team and sponsorships and, say, hey, we've got Santa Fe Gloom going, that's what's going to really make our wealth and our team go a lot further. So, thank you, man. You're a great example for Albuquerque and for New Mexico. You represent your family so well, and for everybody, man. I mean, this is like the prime example. And then obviously we've got CSU Pueblo in common. It's very grassroots school. I mean, places like that you wouldn't really expect, but has an amazing soccer culture, as you know. And I brag about you guys all the time. So, what else you got, man? If not, we can close up shop. But I'm definitely going to follow your journey with SMU.
100%. I appreciate you once again taking the time, getting me on here. And I guess just the biggest takeaway I tell people is like, you're where you're at for a reason. Your inputs and your actions have led you to this point for better or worse. So it's about taking a broader step back and looking at it from a neutral perspective. Like, are you where you want to be in life? And even me right now, like I'm playing SMU, ACC. Like I'm not where I'm at, or I want to be at life. I'm not my
Yeah.
finished product. I'm
Yeah.
not satisfied with where I'm at. And you need to have a balanced mentality because, you always strive for perfection, but you're never going to be perfect. Like that's Jesus. Like you're never going to be perfect. So it's like just staying humble, working hard every single day, and take advantage and open your eyes. Like there's people, even in New Mexico, like there's tons of people out there who know certain people who can get you in certain places, who can access certain things. And it's about utilizing your network. And like I agree with you though, stepping out of the New Mexico bubble, even if it's for 6 months, a year, 2 years, you'd be surprised how people live. Like people can, like for me, it was absurd. I saw a girl in my January class, like in the span of our like 6 hour class, she spent $4,000 like online, Louis Vuitton, Sheen, new accessories for her car. And like for me, I was looking at it like at first, I was like kind of judging her in a sense, like why is she spending that much? But then looking back, I'm like, well, I don't know her. I've never had a conversation with her. I don't know her lifestyle, but I can assume because SMU is an $80,000 a year school. Like her family's got money, so it's like her $4,000 is probably the equivalent of my $40. That's just the reality of the world. Like, so it makes no sense to sit here and complain and feel woe is me. Like, just go out and get it yourself. Like, we can do this. Like, that's probably the biggest thing people back home like need to realize. Like, yo, we're just as capable of making it in the world in whatever avenue you want as anyone else. You just got to try a little bit harder. It's about working on the right stuff consistently and just stay blessed. Like that's the big thing. Like I'm blessed. I wake up every single day. Every day you wake up, you're blessed because you can die in your sleep. Like real talk, like you can't. So it's like waking up every day with the motivation and we all have our bad days. Everyone's human. Everyone feels lazy. Everyone feels lethargic at some days. But if majority of your time is spent working on the right things, you finna make it sooner or later. And I truly believe that. I get that mentality from my parents because they made it happen. So if they can make it happen, and other people around me have lived the life that I want to live and that are doing it, there's nothing special about them. They just know things that I don't. At the end of the day, the people who have it, and the people that don't, they just know certain things or know certain people that you don't. So the challenge is you got to find out those people, got to learn, and that's the big thing. Always learning, always striving to be better, day in and day out.
Man, I can talk to you all day. I really
So can
can.
I. I could, yeah,
I'm going to bring up one other topic
yeah, of course,
that
yeah,
you
no
touch
worries.
on really well is you're saying, like young men like us can pass away at any day. It's true. First of all, it's true. I've got friends, got family, right? Unfortunately, have done that. So have you. I'm assuming, but
Yeah,
I'm assuming from the backgrounds we come from, it's true.
yeah,
Secondly, I own a company called Age Friendly Senior Care. So we help the elderly
okay,
age in place at home with caregivers. So we help people basically pass away at home, right? This operates in Santa Fe, and I do have some clients in Albuquerque. But what that's really like shown me is we've got to reach our potential while we have it. I'm in my
exactly.
30s, you're in your early 20s. We got to give it, man. You got to push on that gas. You can't have any regrets. You got to live every single day as a blessed day and reach out to people, tell them you love them, tell them you appreciate them, and reach your full potential every single day and don't have regrets. You can like type
100%.
in YouTube and say like 99-year-old people's advice to life. I see that every single day, and
Yeah,
it's really true. People do live with regret. They live with loss. They live with heartache. Um, so don't do that. And I don't see that you're the type of person to do that. But it's very, very true, man. I mean, I think we just got to take advantage of every single day and every single conversation that we have with people, because it could be gone just no matter what. So I've experienced that just in the company that I own every single day. And it's definitely changed me to stay motivated, to stay current, to stay present, because when my
yeah,
caregivers are going out, working with people, you know, on the simplest day, our clients are just struggling to get from, the restroom, etc., to the wheelchair to watch the Olympics, things like that. And they sit down on that chair and they watch the Olympics and they're like, this is the coolest thing ever because we've got another day. So
yeah.
I think it's really, really true. You touch on it. I'm glad that you've learned that at an early age, because everything you speak on is very, very true.
Because it's literally all perspective, and I appreciate you,
Yeah.
saying that. And
Yeah.
it makes you really humble. Because like
Yeah.
I've met a couple multimillionaires, and then there's one billionaire here at SMU that I've talked to quite a bit, and he said his biggest takeaway, or like his biggest, not regret, but if he could go back and do one thing, he said he wants to go back to his late 20s, early 30s, when he's the most healthiest,
Yeah.
active, most, and it's the youth, it's the
Yeah.
perspective on it. Whereas
Yeah.
like we're right now, we're like, oh, I can't wait till I'm like high 30s, 40s, because I'm gonna be here, here, here. It's like once you get there, then you're looking back. And then the people that are even above that wish they were in their 50s. And then it's the kid. Like I remember when I was in middle school, I was like, oh, I can't wait to be in high school. Like I want to go to college. Like right now, I can do it. My parents always just live in the moment, have fun, because eventually it's gonna come and you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, oh, I wish I was there. And now I look back on it too, and I don't wish I was back then, but I'm like, okay, like dang, that went by quick. Like I felt like yesterday still, like eighth grade, sixth grade, like it felt like yesterday. So it's like everyone's living this life for the first time, and
Yeah.
it's maybe kind of deep or whatnot, but it's like there's millions of people before you and there's gonna be millions of people after you. So it's like, are you special? Not really. So if you're
Right.
not special, what makes you special? What you think, what your mind, what you process. So it's like live your life. Like don't go out and do radical stuff, but like take that chance. Like I tell
Yep.
my boy, like
Yep.
go talk to that girl.
Yep.
Go miss a class. Like
Yep.
it's in the grand scheme of things, like it's not that deep. Trust me, like life will go on. Stuff will get better. Like even when we got smacked by Oregon State, like it did hurt. It hurt the day after, the week after, the month after. But eventually it still hurts. But now it's not a sadness hurt, it's a motivation type hurt where it's like, yo, like we have another chance here come at the end of the month when we start our season again. Like we go make it happen, live with no regrets. So I don't want that feeling to ever happen again. So it's like just being able to extrapolate things, I think, is the biggest thing missing. especially in our like group in New Mexico and even in the world, like being able to look at stuff from a broader perspective and just really taking a step back and being like, look, like this stuff really doesn't matter. Like, yeah, she hurt me, or yeah, this was tough, but it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because life goes on. And there's, if whatever is supposed to happen is supposed to happen. Like, but you can go out and make your own luck. Like, I never like the term like, oh, you're lucky. Like, you do need a little bit of luck when you're playing, but you call it luck. Like, someone could easily look at my position and say, okay, yeah, you're SMU, ACC, this and that. Like, you got lucky. And yes, I did, because I committed to Cornell. And if I would have went there, it would have been a completely different story. But I also put in countless hours of work for 10, 15 years that you didn't see. Yep. I was in Defined Fitness with my dad and my brother, Planet Fitness, at 4:30, 5 a.m. multiple days, like for months in a row in high school, that you just don't see. We were there late at night working on stuff that you don't see. So it's like you make your own luck at the end of the day. And it's like any skill. If you compound it for long enough, like even with podcasts, like you do, like I think you're better now than where you were your first podcast, and you'll be better after the next 20, 30, 40, 50. And so it's just, you just compound your skills. And once you have those skills, they never leave you. So I look at life now more so like a video game. Like, I'm upgrading my player in real life. Like, I'd be in the gym, I'd be training, I'd be out talking to people, socializing. Like, you just got to build yourself up, because we got this one life. So might as well do what you want to do with it. Go try things, experience life. So that's really my main takeaway. Always stay humble. And I give all thanks to God at the end of the day. Like, even when we talk about multimillionaire, like, if God's plan is for me never to touch that kind of money, that's just his plan. And like, I'm okay with that. I can say that now. Maybe in a year it'll be harder to accept, 2 years, but at the end of the day, that's God's plan. I truly believe he's got a higher future. And I think that's my biggest takeaway. Like, I do my best to give back, like you said, give back and make an impact, because I truly believe that's how we're supposed to live. Like, we're here to help each other. We're here to bring each other up as people and really elevate. And, if I could change one person's life, like that's the goal. Like, because I remember I was doing a paper on it, and this is kind of like the last thing. Sorry if I'm rambling.
No, you're good.
But
you're good.
I was looking at a paper, like they said in like 1930, or no, I was reading the book Think and Grow Rich. That's where it came from.
Yep.
Like in the 1920s, they broke it down from a scientific perspective, like how much is a human worth, like with all the atoms and molecules in our body. And at the time, it was like $25,000 in like 1930. But like they did another study and they broke it down in 2019. And now a human body is technically worth $66 million. So in terms of the chemicals, your body parts, all that. So it's like, if you treat yourself like a $66 million individual, which is a hard mindset to do, because, we don't come from that kind of environment, you really start operating with care. And like, I still eat fast food, don't get me wrong. But like, there's times where I'm like, okay, nah, that's probably not the best. Like, treat your body like a temple, treat your mindset, because really those are the only two things you can control. You can't even control your heart. You can really control your mind. Like, you just got to think things through and really process information. If you could do that, you'll be fine in whatever avenue you take.
Yeah, you're an inspiration, man. That's why I want you to come back to New Mexico. You're above your years. I mean, a lot of the things you're touching on, I'm 37. I'm just barely finding out, and kind of I'm going back to when I worked at the nursing home at 21 years old. That was a huge shock to my system. Seeing people who I cared for on a weekly basis just pass away in an instant. I'm just like, holy smokes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just wild. But everything you're touching on, I'm still learning, But as always, I want to thank our sponsors. We've got Pantry Dose of Santa Fe, real healthy, good food. Lamar, by the way. City of Santa Fe Economic Development. Thank you guys so very much. Zach at Capital Ford, Age Friendly Senior Care. Shout out to you guys. We've got the Pit Press Podcast, Go Lobos, Sam's Club, Mercedes-Benz of Santa Fe, and Botwin iGroup, Oculus. Thank you guys all so very much. Lamar, thank you, man. We got to connect some more. Keep reading those books, because that's 100%. Where you get your knowledge. And you've got that entrepreneur mindset. Be careful with those investments. Just go real slow. Text me before you put $1 million check on the table. I'll guide you as best as I can.
Yes, sir. That's the thing. There's so much, like I said, there's so much financial literacy that I don't even know yet. And it's like, There's so many different ways that you can make your money, not avoid taxes, but pay less, because millionaires do it. People do it at the same time. Like the
Yeah.
system's broke, like financially, the system's broke. So you either complain that it's broke or you capitalize on the opportunity. And me personally, I prefer to take my own life in my own hands. So I'll decide to capitalize on it. So yeah, 100%. And I want to come back to New Mexico, give it back, and inspire the next generation.
Yeah.
God willing, that's in these next year, 2, 3. But if it takes longer, it takes longer. So like I said, I ain't stressed about life. I'm blessed. Live every day as a blessing. Like after this, I'm about to do some homework. Student first.
Yeah.
I talked about missing class. Student first. You got to stay eligible. You got to
Yeah.
stay eligible. So yeah, just making sure. Yeah, doing your due diligence, and making it happen. But at the same time, I don't stress about my grades. Like I don't go to sleep every night wondering, oh, I need an A or I need a 90, because it's too. I don't think that's how you live, and you can attest to it too. You already said it's like it's the network you build. You could have a 4.2, but if you don't got a network, that don't matter. Like you could be the most qualified person for the job, but if I know the owner's son or I played with the owner's son, I guarantee you I'm probably going to have a little bit more leeway than you, even if I'm less qualified. So just getting out of comfort zone, meeting people, and investing in yourself, invest in education, even beyond college. Like read books, like you said, read books, get programs, like just learn more. Anything's an investment if you take it the right way.
Yeah, no, you got it. I mean, one of our sponsors is economic development, the city of Santa Fe, because they understand what you and I are talking about. They're investing in infrastructure, right? They're investing in land to make the world go around. So those are the types of activities that believe in your and I mission, right? Is all of these conversations. So thanks, man. Good luck in your season. Thank you so much. Go SMU, go CSU Pueblo, go New Mexico United. Lamar, you're a great kid, man. Appreciate everything, and we'll have you back maybe towards the end of your season.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you once again, David. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. Let me know anytime. Yeah,
for sure.
I'm free anytime.
You got it. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. No worries. Thank you. You have a good one.
You too.